Good morning, everyone. So we will have our continuation for the lesson we had yesterday. We will still be discussing our lesson one, distinguish text types according to purpose and texture. So for today's objective, you will distinguish text types according to purpose and features, classification, explanation, enumeration, and time order. So what are these? We will discuss these text types one by one. So we're done with the problem solution, graphic organizer. We did this one yesterday. For those who did not submit yet, please submit or turn them in our classwork. So let's go directly to what's in. It says here writing is done for a number of different purposes. So we have reasons. We have purposes why we write. So it could be a letter, an article, a story, uh, our diary. Okay, so if you want to have a diary, to have a daily journal, you can do it. No, it depends upon your purpose why you write. And of course, if we write, we there are also uh, different audiences. We write for our audiences. For example, the writers who wrote articles in the newspaper, so they would have a varied audiences. Okay, so these different forms of writing are often known as text types. So again, text types. These are written for a variety of purposes using different forms and standards for composition. So there are standards to follow, forms to follow, and of course, firsthand before you write is we must have our purpose. And comes along with the purpose is the feature. So features depend on the purpose of the text. Some of it commonly use signal words for better understanding of the text. Yes, signal words to have a smooth flow of ideas from the beginning down to the end part of your composition or down to the end part of your writing. So signal words are very important when we write. So we have here text types purpose. We include enumeration, classification, time order, and explanation. So we will go over these text types one by one. So let's try to know these text types with the help of our selection. So our selection title is Battle Against Coronavirus. So before we read our selection, let's know first the questions after. So I'm gonna give you the questions so that as we go along the story, you will be guided on what to do. So you have here the questions. Please read with comprehension with me. I will be helping you in understanding our text types for today. So for the first question, you have here, what is the paragraph all about? Okay, what is the main topic of our paragraph? And then number two, so we will examine or study our selection paragraph by paragraph. So we have here four paragraphs. First paragraph, and then you have the second paragraph. Okay, and then we have the third part, and then the fourth part. So the fourth part, our selection is divided into four. Yes, so we will we will examine or study each paragraph. What is the paragraph all about? What is being discussed in each paragraph? And then number two, what are the three well-known viruses that occur in different year? What are these enumerated viruses? So three, one, two, three, as mentioned in our question. Number three, who are the people who are prone with COVID-19? So who are those people who are more likely to get or who are more likely to be infected with COVID-19? And then number four, what is the best protection for this pandemic today? And number five, Identify what kind of text type is the following paragraph. So paragraph 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, you would choose here. You have here explanation, classification, enumeration, time order, problem, and solution. So let's go. Let's do this. And let's read and understand. Let's read with comprehension our selection, which is entitled Battle Against Coronavirus. Okay, Battle Against Coronavirus. There. So, the world's biggest health crisis of our time is the rise of coronavirus pandemic that not only threatens people but kill thousands of lives around the globe. So, what's the main so what's the cause of our pandemic here? We have the coronavirus. Because of coronavirus, we are experiencing now a pandemic. Pandemic not only here in the Philippines but all throughout the world. Yes. So where did this coronavirus came from? It originates in Wuhan, China last 2019 and is a highly contagious disease that easily spread around the world. COVID-19 is a virus that looks like a corona that can easily transferred by humans through sneezing or coughing. Most people infected with the COVID-19 virus will experience mild to moderate respiratory illness and recover without requiring special treatment. So older people and those with underlying medical problems like cardiovascular disease, diabetes, chronic respiratory disease, and cancer are more likely to develop serious illness. Okay, so indeed, coronavirus is a socio-economic crisis too that leaves a deep scar in the economy of the country it touches. The fight for this pandemic is not yet over because there is no invented vaccine yet. So before, there's no invented vaccine yet, but for now, at present, vaccination has already started to other countries. So that's our paragraph number 1. So for paragraph number 2, so what have you observed first in paragraph 1? Okay. So here, what is coronavirus? Where does it came from? Who will likely be infected with the disease? What are the symptoms? Okay, so COVID-19 here is clearly elaborated or explained. Yan. Okay, so let's have number 2 here, this one. Let's proceed to number 2. According to an article written by Center for Disease Control and Prevention, coronaviruses are named for the crown-like spikes on their surface. There are forming subgroupings of coronavirus known as alpha, beta, gamma, and delta. So what are the four main subgroupings? You have there 4, alpha, beta, gamma, and delta. Human coronavirus were first identified in the mid-1960s. So when was coronavirus first identified? No? During the year 1960. Okay, on middle years of 1960. The 3 well-known coronavirus are MERS-CoV, the beta coronavirus that causes Middle East Respiratory Syndrome or MERS. Second, SARS-CoV, the beta coronavirus that causes severe acute respiratory syndrome or SARS. And the third one, SARS-CoV-2, the novel coronavirus that causes coronavirus disease 2019 or COVID-19, which we are currently facing today. So we have 3 identified coronavirus, and the latest is number 3, which we are experiencing right now, SARS-CoV-2. Okay, so that's paragraph number 2. So we have here 4 subgroupings of coronaviruses, and we have here 3 identified coronaviruses. Okay, and then let's have paragraph 3. So let me highlight it first. And that's our paragraph 3 up to this part. So let's see what what text type is our paragraph 3. MERS-CoV is a viral respiratory disease caused by a novel coronavirus, Middle East Respiratory Syndrome coronavirus, or MERS-CoV, that was first identified in Saudi Arabia. So that's the first. The clinical spectrum of MERS-CoV infection ranges from no symptoms, symptomatic, no symptoms at all. You have the virus, but you can't detect that you are already infected because there are no symptoms presented or shown. The second one, you have mild respiratory symptoms, severe acute respiratory disease, and the last, it would result to death. A typical presentation of MERS-CoV disease is fever, cough, and shortness of breath. Pneumonia is a common finding but not always present. Gastrointestinal symptoms, including diarrhea, have also been reported. Severe illness can cause respiratory failure that requires mechanical ventilation and support in an intensive care unit. So symptoms are being symptoms here are enumerated also, and then the infection, ranges of infection from no symptoms to death. Right? The virus could lead to death. On the other hand, SARS-CoV is a severe acute respiratory syndrome, SARS. It's a viral respiratory illness caused by a coronavirus called SARS-associated coronavirus SARS-CoV. SARS was first reported in Asia. The illness spread to more than 24 countries in North America, South America, Europe, and Asia before the SARS global outbreak of 2003 was contained. So since 2004, there have not been any known cases of SARS reported anywhere in the world. Lastly, the novel coronavirus that causes coronavirus disease 2019 or COVID-19 is a severe acute respiratory syndrome coronavirus 2, SARS-CoV-2, is the name given to the 2019 novel coronavirus. COVID-19 is the name given to the disease associated with the virus. SARS-CoV-2 is a new strain of coronavirus that has not been previously identified in humans. There you go. So that's number 4. Number 3. So again, let's go back. So for paragraph 1, there's a elaboration of coronavirus. And then, yes, what is coronavirus and more for paragraph 1. For number 2, we have here 4 main subgroupings coronaviruses known as alpha, beta, gamma, and delta. And there were 3 identified coronaviruses mentioned here. So paragraph 3, for paragraph 3, you have here an elaboration of each of the identified virus. Okay, MERS-CoV from the Middle East, SARS-CoV, it's a severe acute respiratory syndrome. So there's a comparison, or there's an explanation more on MERS-CoV and SARS-CoV. And then, yes, and the last is the SARS-CoV-2. So in paragraph 3, the 3 classified or identified coronaviruses are further explained or further elaborated here in paragraph 3. So let's have paragraph 4. After this, let's take a look with the diagram below that shows the time when did each viruses occur and leave thousands of deaths as it touches the whole world. So time, let's say from birth at present, or let's say from what year down to the present year. So there's time, there's order of time being shown here. So let's have the first box. The illness spread to more than 2 dozen countries in North America, South America, Europe, and Asia before the SARS global outbreak of 2003 was contained. So it started with these countries, no? North America, South America, Europe, and Asia. Okay, and then next, Middle East Respiratory Syndrome MERS is a viral respiratory disease caused by a novel coronavirus from Middle East Respiratory Syndrome coronavirus or MERS-CoV that was first identified in Saudi Arabia in 2012, from 2003 to 2012. So take a look at the evolution of this associated viruses. So the last one, the novel coronavirus detected in China in 2019 is closely related genetically to SARS-CoV-1 virus. Okay, so you have here years mentioned from 2003, 2012, and to last year, just last it's already 2021, so 2019, no, almost a year where novel coronavirus is detected. Okay, so this virus says, especially COVID-19 pandemic, is a serious problem that every one of us must be involved. But everything will end up well if everyone will cooperate and follow. Prayer and self-discipline are the best protection to shield us with this deadly virus we are facing today. So what's the answer for our first question? What is the paragraph all about? It's all about our main subject, our main topic in our paragraphs 1 to 4, or in our selection is blank. So you can write down your answers. And then later on, after the explanation of each text type, we'll go back to your answers, and then we will try to see, we'll try to check, to reflect if your answers are correct. Yes, our paragraph is all about coronavirus or COVID-19, which we are experiencing right now. So I hope your answers are correct for number 1. Number 2, what are the 3 well-known viruses that occur in different years? So you have 2003, 2012, and 2019. And so you have their MERS-CoV, you have their COVID-19, and then just last 2003, yan, coronavirus spread, okay, SARS, okay, in 2003. So, you have already answers for 1 and 2. Who are the people who are prone with COVID-19? Those with serious illnesses, with diabetes. Yes, that's correct. So, kindly submit your answers in our classwork so that I can check it one by one also for you. Number 4, what is the best protection for this pandemic time? And how can we protect ourselves? How can we protect our loved ones, our family, and friends from the virus? Okay. Number 5, identify what kind of text type is the following paragraph. So that's why the paragraphs are numbered from 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then you will choose here your correct answer. So later on, we will be elaborating all of your answers. So let's see if your answers are correct. So did you find our activity a little harder? Yes, it's a little bit harder because it's our introduction, it's our first hand activity for our text type lesson. Now let's have some discussion about it. In this part, you will understand and Understand deeper the different kinds of text type according to its purpose and features. So you can we will elaborate one by one. The first one is classification. So what is classification? Text type. What is classification? Text type. Okay, so text type according to purpose and feature. So our purpose here is to classify. No, it's either to differentiate, to tell the similarity or the differences, or to have a contrast idea between topics. Okay, so connected topics. Between connected topics. Yan. Okay, so we have here the meaning and examples. The definition of classification is a grouping of people or things in a systematic way. So grouping of people or things in a systematic way. Okay, so which of the people or things go together, and which group people which group of which people or things go together in the other another group because of some certain characteristics perhaps or similarities. Okay, so let's try. Start with the main idea using the rest of the paragraph to explain the series of secondary ideas. So from main idea to secondary ideas. So each one is being classified. So let's have example number one. Battle against coronavirus, paragraph 3. So that means paragraph 3 is classification. Paragraph 3 is classification. So uh, why does paragraph 3 fall under classification? So in this paragraph, the coronaviruses are classified into 3 well-known viruses that kill thousands of life around the globe. Each virus is defined to state clear differences within each other for the reader to understand it better. So you have there the classifications, 3 classification. MERS-CoV, the COVID-19, and the virus that started year 2003. There you go. And then example 2, yes, weight loss. People looking to lose weight have a few options: exercise, diet, weight loss pill, surgery. Exercising involves going to a gym, working out at home, or joining some sort of class or sports team. Yan. There you go. So it's classification. Let's have now, okay, some more example of classification. Those who are dieting can talk to a doctor about a plan for them. Weight loss pills can be taken if proper precautions and directions are followed. Individuals who are severely overweight can talk to a doctor about having surgery to lose the weight that they need. In this paragraph, the different options of people in losing their weight, it is identified as exercise, diet, weight loss, pills, surgery. Yan. Each of it was described according to their differences and impact in losing one's weight. So there are classifications. So for our paragraph 3, we have 3 classifications, 3 viruses classifications. When it comes to diet, there are 4 identified options of people for people to lose weight. Okay, so let's have now the second one, enumeration. Focuses on listing facts. So there's a list, characteristics or features. Signal words include to begin with secondly, then, most, important, in fact, for example, several, numerous, first, next, finally, also, for instance, and in addition. So signal words are evident here in our enumeration text type. By using enumeration, writers lay emphasis on certain ideas to elaborate them further. In fact, enumeration easily creates an impression on the minds of the readers. The details on listing make it easy for them to convey the real message they want to impart. However, if there is no use of enumeration in a text, it might become difficult for the reader to get the true meanings of the ideas. And so, enumeration is used to better understand the ideas in our selection. So, enumeration. In our paragraph, in our selection, it's paragraph 2. Yes, kasi you have there listings, yung four main subgroupings. The, there are listed or enumerated, no? Enumerated sub main groupings of coronavirus and 3 identified coronavirus. Okay, so let's see. For paragraph 2, yan no. Okay, for paragraph 2, we have here, yan. So, yeah, tama. 4 subgroupings and then three well-known viruses, MERS-CoV, SARS-CoV, and SARS-CoV-2. Okay, so for paragraph 2, this belongs to enumeration. Paragraph 3 a while ago is a classification. Okay, classification uh, of of viruses. Okay, classification of viruses. Okay, so MERS-CoV, SARS-CoV, and COVID-19. So it's classified here. Each of the virus is being classified, no? Or they are grouped together. Okay, next, let's have, so we're done with classification and enumeration. Okay, we have here another example. The moon is our closest neighbor. Its gravity only 1/6 of Earth. In addition, there is no atmosphere on the moon. The lack of atmosphere also means there is no water on the moon, an important problem when traveling there. In this paragraph, moon is the main topic. The features of the moon are listed in it. Okay, so there are listings about moon. So let's have time order. So this is very obvious, no? With our selection, you have there four, three viruses that occurred in the, according to the time. Okay, occurred, which present ideas according to the time when they occurred. So the first one was in year 2003, the second one was in year 2012, and the third one was detected last 2019. So there's a time order. The major supporting details are arranged in sequence order to when they happened or should happen. So signal words are first, after, while, during, next, last, later, finally, then. It is often used in story, historical topics, directions, procedures, or processes. Yan. So in this paragraph, the occurrence of the three viruses were listed down in the chart depending on the year and place it begins. It is based on the data of World Health Organization. You can use flowchart to easily restate the paragraph and understand it. So let's have number 4, the last one. We're done with classification. The next one is enumeration. The third one is time order, and the last is explanation. It is a non-fiction text which describes why or things happen. Explain. Example of explanation text includes how something occurred, why something happened, why things are alike or different, how to solve a problem. So it's our paragraph 1. There's an explanation there. What is COVID-19? How can you be infected by the virus, and who are susceptible with this? Okay, so there's an explanation. There's an explanation also who are the people who are more at risk of having the or who are more at risk of being infected with the virus. Okay, so that's explanation. So congrats, you have reached this part. Now let's measure your knowledge. How well did you understand our lessons? Are you ready for this? Then if yes, let's do it. Analyze and identify what kind of text type is the given paragraph and article below. Write your answers in the blank. So they have influenza, A, and then B, C, and okay. So until C. So let's have more practices on this one. So influenza, flu, and COVID-19 are both contagious respiratory illnesses, but they are caused by different viruses. COVID-19 is caused by infection with a new coronavirus called SARS-CoV-2. Most people infected with the COVID-19 virus will experience mild to moderate respiratory illness and recover without requiring special treatment. Older people and those with underlying medical problems like cardiovascular disease, diabetes, chronic respiratory disease, and cancer are more likely to develop serious illness. On the other hand, flu is caused by infection with influenza viruses. Symptoms can be mild to severe. The most common symptoms include high fever, runny nose, sore throat, muscle and joint pain, headache, and coughing, and feeling tired. These symptoms typically begin 2 days after exposure to the virus and most last less than a week. The cough, however, may last for more than 2 weeks. In children, there may be diarrhea and vomiting, but these are not common in adults. Diarrhea and vomiting occur more commonly in gastroenteritis, which is an unrelated disease and sometimes inaccurately referred to as stomach flu or the 24-hour flu. Complications of influenza may include viral pneumonia, secondary bacterial pneumonia, sinus infections, and worsening of previous health problems such as asthma or heart failure. Because some of the symptoms of flu and COVID-19 are similar, it may be hard to tell the difference between them based on symptoms alone, and testing may be needed to help confirm a diagnosis. Flu and COVID-19 share many characteristics, but there are some key differences between the two. So what kind of text type is that? Okay, so write your answers in your notebook and then take a picture and turn in your answers. Yan. So let's have letter B and then letter C. So you can do it on your own and then submit your work in our classwork. So that's all for today. I hope you have learned from our lesson, and uh, I hope you understand more our text types. So how many text types do we have? Four. We have explanation, classification, time order, and the last one is um, you have their classification, explanation, yes, enumeration. Okay, enumeration. We have their explanation and time order. So we have four. So based on our paragraph, you must have to distinguish if this selection belongs to what text type, what specific text type. Okay, so don't forget to submit your work, and we will check your work. We will check your work later or by tomorrow before we proceed on our next activity. So I think this is the end of our lesson. So tomorrow we will have our continuous activity, have our continuation. We will discuss here what I can do part of our module. Yan. So thank you so much for listening.